What's going on, everybody? Emmett Ferguson here, and I'm going to share with you something that is going to help you improve your writing virtually overnight. And it all depends on and how much you desire to make that happen, whether you are a copywriter writing for sales, whether you're a marketer writing for more sales, whether you're an ad writer, even a fiction writer. I think fiction writers, I've seen this done pretty effectively from the book. If you read great books like the book Game of Thrones, what they do well, what a book like that does well. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. You got plenty of examples out there, but the magic circus or the circus, something like that. Anyway, what they do well, what those books do well, is what professional sales writers and copywriters also do well. And what that is keeps your attention. And they use some similar techniques that not only capture your attention but make you want to learn more and to just keep you engaged every single moment of the book. And with any writer, you and don't take this concept the wrong way, but you got to have control of your story, which ultimately also has control of the emotions of the reader. When someone is reading a book, they want to give control over to the writer, the author, hoping that it's going to give them some entertainment, some new piece of advice, some great piece of information, some word of wisdom, some story, some laughter, some tears, whatever that is. And the author obviously has to have the skills to be able to deliver that. Now, with this book by Neville Medorah, this book will teach you how to write better. This book is virtually guaranteed to teach you how to write better overnight. Because when I read this, there's a lot of books out there that feel like they need, especially books on, maybe writing or, books on history or like, any sort of science. They can often go on and over explain things because if they're a lot of those people are researchers. In fiction, people, they got to tell a story, they got to paint a whole picture. In research, like books like Thinking Fast and Slow or Sapiens or anything like that, before an idea is delivered, they have to be able to frame up the idea within the context of the entire history of whatever it is. So when you get informational books like these now, there's some books that claim that they're going to teach you something, you're going to learn something, but a lot of times those ideas can be over-explained. How often do you need to be told that, like, something like goal setting, right? Goal setting is a common topic in many books, yet some books can spend 20 pages writing goal setting, where in reality most of us have probably gone through all types of goal setting techniques and all sort of goal setting methods. And I think that's a fault of many writers, is that they might over explain certain concepts that don't need to be over explained. And there's some justification for it, right? Because sometimes you do have to frame ideas as they relate to your specific presentation. But at the end of the day, when you get an information book, something that's supposed to teach you something, you want someone to get straight to the point. And this book does an amazing job of bulling it out each chapter. It gets to go really quick, chapter by chapter, lesson by lesson. Teaches you with examples and gets you super engaged, and every chapter is readable in less than, I would argue, maybe 20 minutes. Every chapter is arguably readable, in less than 20 minutes, and this is going to teach you how to communicate more effectively. It's going to teach you how to write more effectively, because once you know how to write, once you know what engages people in reading, once you know how to craft better sentences, more engaging sentences, Once you understand your audience better, you're going to be able to communicate more effectively like you never have before. And that's the beauty of this book, is that you don't need an entire writing course. Now, I'm not saying that it's not valuable to take a specific course on writing to invest and pay for and spend weeks and practice. And I'm not saying that people that this is going to teach someone who's never written before to suddenly become the next best thing, next best author, and write better than anybody who's spent their dedicated their life to it. But there are certain truths, actions and concepts in writing and frameworks that you can start applying right away, that's going to make your writing more effective, more engaging, more interesting. And this book goes over those fundamentals. If you're into programming, for some reason you want to learn writing, it's basically like you learn a language, you learn how to create lists, dictionaries, loops, statements, and how to import different things. If you're an artist, right, it's like learning all the primary colors, which colors mix together, different types of brush strokes. Well, one second, I'm gonna turn this back on. Different types of brush strokes, different types of the basic techniques, and even actionable ideas on how to apply them right away. Now, anybody who's been painting for years, yes, some of those things are going to seem obvious, but then there's even still some skills that you can learn on a individual basis, even whether you're experienced or you're inexperienced, and whatever that is. And another thing, just another example. By the way, the reason why I keep sharing all this is because this book, I think it's like less than 100 pages. I want to say it's less than 80 pages. I can't be too sure right now, but let me see. Yeah, it doesn't say. I only have it down to yeah, and Kindle only tells me what percentage I have left. So I'm gonna guess like less than 100 pages that you can get through overnight. Because as a person, Neville Medorah, who is aiming to teach you how to write more effectively, it also has to be engaging. You also have to be able to keep a person reading while also giving them this helpful advice that's supposed to help them. So, and the thing where most people writers go wrong is that I think is that they can put the information out, they can share the information, they can tell the how-to, but they're not able to sell the idea. And that's where effective skills like this can be learned, is ultimately selling your idea. Because it's one thing to say someone should eat vegetables, right? Everybody knows we got to eat vegetables, from the 3-year-old to whose parents is constantly trying to get them to eat vegetables, to the 99-year-old living in a retirement home, who realizes that they need to eat vegetables, whatever. So everybody knows, to the busy executive, to the athlete, to the person who can barely afford a pizza. So everybody knows that they need to eat vegetables. But if you have a book and you want to help people, and you realize that eating vegetables can help save their life, improve their life, make it better, make them live faster, make their brain work more effectively, make them more creative, help them become more efficient, effective, more energized, more attractive. If you realize that you can help make people eat vegetables and help them achieve all of that, then you got to be able to sell it. You got to be able to sell those ideas. So while most writers, they're very good at sharing the story, they're very good at talking about the idea or the concept, a lot of people maybe don't sell it. And that's where this book comes in handy as well, is teaching you not just to write better. It's not about grammatical context or syntax or where to place a period, how to use the Oxford comma, whether you should use exclamations, bolds, or italics. It's not about the technical aspect of writing, because that can be learned. It's about understanding how to communicate more effectively, and there is a technical element of it. There's a framework of which has been used in endless amounts of content that you've probably read. There's a framework that you can use and apply that's going to make you a more effective writer. It's just like that. People have been using it for centuries. You talk about headlines, and it's more than headlines. It's why they work. It talks about what parts of the body that you can use and include that are going to make it more effective. And just look at this. So it's called, the book is short, effective, and sort of offensive, but you will write better after reading it. I mean, that is the promise of this book. This book will teach you to how to write better, and it's short, it's concise. You can read it overnight. You get started at 6-7 p.m. after dinner, and not only you could probably finish by 1 a.m. If you're a slow reader. This book took me just a little bit amount of time, a couple hours. But what I love about this book is that there's stuff that you can take and put into action right away. You start putting things into action right away. Not only are you going to get actionable advice where you can even tweet. This advice is so good that whether you want to be social media, whether you want to be a social media copywriter, or whether you want to be a regular writer, or you want to write fiction, this is going to give you some ideas that you can literally just start tweeting. You can start tweeting 200. I think their max number of words now is characters is 250 characters or something. You could tweet, and people will recognize that your writing has probably improved. I mean, that's how effective this book is. I mean, let's just go into it real quick. Communicate better, write better. Ultimately, I mean, that's another thing. When you're looking to write better, you want to communicate, but you also want to get what you want. You want to help the other person get what they want. Let's say if your intention was just to get what you want, what you wanted is to get the other person to be entertained, to get the other person to take action in their life. Whatever that is, I mean, ultimately, this is there to help you. When people think, oh, get what you want, it's like selfish, and oh, maybe I just want, is it all about money, or it's all about me, or whatever. But when you're writing, when you're communicating to someone, yes, it's very important to get your message across. But if you got your message across more effectively than ever before, I mean, this is just a way to be able to help others more effectively, if that's the route that you want to go. And there's a lot of skills in here. I've studied a lot of writing, marketing, advertising, writing courses, not so much fiction, but some screenwriting courses. And and I was able to get a lot of great actionable tips from this book. So contents, the envelope exercise, an exercise right off the bat, no one cares about you. How to write more exciting things, formulas. Let's see, why it's an art, whether you should do long or short copy. He's got a checklist, keeping things simple. So, with all that said, this book will teach you how to write better. This book will teach you how to write better, and it's helped me write better. And because but also there's another thing here is you don't want to ever, read a book like this. You want to be engaged with a book like this. This is one of those books where if someone gives you a great idea, not just to, think oh, maybe it'll work, or, I've heard this idea. Whew, I woke up too early today. But not just to think about the idea and whether it's going to work, or think oh, that's a clever idea, but literally just to put it into action. That's why I really like this book, because when I remember reading this book, I was able to send out tweets, and I was able to type stuff on LinkedIn and start having more ideas. And It's a great reference book too, because when you've got a book that's really condensed, that like gets straight to the point on the ideas and even does a good job of selling it and framing it for you, you've got some gold in your hands, because it's something that you can always reference and refer to. So with that, check out the book. Check out this book. It will teach you to be how to write better. And get started on writing. Get started on practicing the ideas in this book, and do it overnight. Get the ideas into your mind overnight. Start practicing them, and then use this as a reference. Like, there's so many great, effective ideas in this book. This is like basically having a piece of gold in your hand right now. So with that, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you liked it, enjoyed it, and hope you start to follow your dreams if you want to become a writer, or whether you just want to learn a skill to have more influential communication, persuasive writing, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.